Silence. And then from that silence, a new world is conjured. Not in the concert hall, not in the open air, but here, in this room, the recording studio. The space where sound is not merely captured, but sculpted, stretched, shattered and reborn. David Toop, in his chapter, Content in a Void, invites us into this alchemical chamber where technology meets imagination and sometimes even madness. Joe Meek was a pioneering and eccentric record producer who operated from his home studio at 304 Holloway Road, Islington, London, in a flat above a leather goods store. Meek's first major success from his studio was with John Layton's Johnny Remember Me in 1961, which topped the UK singles chart. He achieved even greater international fame with the instrumental Telstar in 1962, a song he wrote and produced himself, which became a #1 hit in both the UK and the US. The first bedroom producer, perhaps. His studio was known for his unconventional techniques and the otherworldly sounds he created. Meek was famously at odds with his landlady, Violet Shenton, who lived on the floor below and often complained about the noise by banging on her ceiling with a broom, to which Meek would respond by turning up the volume. A private plaque now marks the Holloway Road location in his honour. Toop also looks to Brian Wilson, painting his teenage symphonies to God with the colours of the mixing desk. And in Jamaica, two wizards, Lee Scratch Perry and King Tubby, were transforming the studio into a double laboratory, a sonic TARDIS, bending time and space with echo and reverb. These auteurs of atmosphere push the boundaries of sound, creating new and exciting auditory worlds. The producer, the engineer, suddenly they were central creative forces, sometimes even eclipsing the artist whose name was on the record. How did this happen, and what did it mean for the very idea of a song? This power to construct, to manipulate, leads us into a strange hall of mirrors, into the realm of artifice, of illusion. Toop recounts a dream, Elvis Presley, fit and young, fronting Mixmaster Morris's otherworldly outfit in some desolate club. The sound is both familiar and utterly strange, a construct of the sleeping mind. But the waking world is just as weird. Think of the great phantoms of American entertainment, the billionaire Howard Hughes, a ghost in his own life, ruling an empire by remote control, or the singer Dean Martin, whose wife said he was always content in a void. These men, living in a kind of self-imposed ambient state, show us that the line between presence and absence, reality and illusion, has always been blurry. And this blurriness, this sense of atmosphere as content, became a signature style of the 1980s. You can see it in the films of Michael Mann. Look at Thief, or his 1983 film, The Keep. The city at night becomes a deep blue aquascape, the narrative carried by the relentless shimmering sequencer music of Tangerine Dream. You can hear it in the epic electronic tapestries of Vangelis, or the cool, stylish moods of Sard. Its music as humidity, as colour, as feeling. It's the sound of those oppositional conflicts between chaos and order, passion and detachment, finding a strange, beautiful balance. A holographic world you could step into, but the studio can conjure more literal phantoms. Think of those Dead Zone duets. This is where it gets really strange. This technological body snatching. Natalie Cole singing a duet with a video projection of her long-departed father, Nat. Radio DJs splicing Elvis and Linda Ronstadt together. Patsy Cline and Jim Reeves, both killed in plane crashes, brought back to sing One More Heartbreaker. Hank Williams, Buddy Holly, their music reanimated, reclothed in strings and backing vocals decades after their passing. And then there's the jazz world. Alice Coltrane adding lush Hollywood strings to the fiery spiritual recordings of her late husband, John Coltrane. The purists were horrified. His drummer, Rashid Ali, said it was like rewriting the Bible. But no one's ghost has been worked over more than Jimi Hendrix. He dreamed of expanding his sound, of conducting big band, not of violins, but of competent musicians, to paint pictures of Earth and space, but he died before he could. And so, the producers moved in. Albums like Crash Landing were built from scraps, with session musicians meticulously copying and pasting notes to finish his solos. The result? The tightest, dullest records Hendrix never made. This desire to complete the unfinished, to imagine what might have been, created its own mythology. The fabled jams between Hendrix and Miles Davis, the collaboration between Alice Coltrane and Carlos Santana on Illuminations, both trying to channel the spirit of John Coltrane through electric guitars and ecstatic devotion. And then there's John McLaughlin's incredible Devotion album, a masterpiece of stoned heavy metal jazz produced by Alan Douglas, the same man who would later reconstruct Hendrix. It's a web of connections, of ghosts in the machine. Is it a tribute or a kind of technological grave robbing? It makes you question everything you thought was real about the music you love. While Miles Davis was listening to Hendrix and Sly Stone, he was also, strangely, investigating this man, Karl-Heinz Stockhausen, the German composer who saw himself not as a writer of music, but as a kind of cosmic radio receiver. He dreamed of a music of the whole world, and in works like Telemusic and Hymnen, he made it happen. He took the international gibberish of shortwave transmissions, the sound of radio static, and mixed it with recordings from across the globe, Africa, Japan, Vietnam, and electronic sounds. He drew a parallel between the stream of consciousness of the human mind and the act of tuning a radio. For Stockhausen, the composer was a satellite dish, absorbing and transmitting the sounds of the planet. But his utopian vision had a darker, more fanatical side. He believed that our animal body, with its messy, biological rhythms, was holding back human evolution, the thump of the heartbeat, the pulse of the dance floor. These he thought would have to go. He proposed micro-rhythms that would tune us into higher beings, preparing us for transportation across space on beams of light. It's a cold, techno vision, a universe of pure, disembodied intellect, a total rejection of the funk. And yet, you can hear the strange, layered, cliché-free spaces of Stockhausen in the electric universe of Miles Davis's On the Corner. It's another ghost in the machine, a secret connection you would never expect. And he woke again, thinking he had dreamed. Errol strapping him to a G-Web in Babylon Rocker, and then the long pulse of Zion dub. That's from William Gibson's Neuromancer, and it captures perfectly the revolutionary power that came out of Jamaica, the power of dub. Nowhere was the deconstruction of reality more potent than in the hands of its two great wizards. The first was King Tubby. He was an engineer cutting records, and one day, by accident, he discovered something magical. He dropped the vocal from a track, leaving just the raw, skeletal rhythm. And then, with his implements of sound, the echo, the reverb, the EQ, he began to play the mixing desk itself. He launched the bass and drums into outer space. The sound of dub was born in his tiny studio in a maze of zinc-fenced yards in Kingston. The other wizard was Lee Scratch Perry. For Perry, the studio wasn't a machine. It was a living, spiritual organism, an ark, a secret laboratory. He said he put his mind into the machine. The electricity was the eye, the water was the life. He was a magician, an Old Testament prophet, pulling inspiration from Jamaican folklore, the Bible, comic books, and spaghetti westerns. In his Black Ark studio, he created some of the most innovative, supernatural music of the 20th century. Junior Mervin's Police and Thieves, Max Romeo's War in a Babylon. He would drop ghostly voices, rattling percussion, and reptilian hisses into the mix, creating vast, three-dimensional sound sculptures. This wasn't just remixing. This was the sound of reality being taken apart and put back together again, stranger and more beautiful than before. and that echo from Jamaica travelled. In London, producer Adrian Sherwood took dub even deeper into the echo chamber, creating epic, psychedelic soundscapes with artists like Prince Farai and his own group, African Head Charge. Their album, My Life in a Hole in the Ground, was a direct, laughing response to another landmark record. That record was 1981's My Life in the Bush of Ghosts by Brian Eno and David Byrne. The project began as a collaboration with the visionary trumpeter and composer John Hassell, who was developing his fourth world concept, a coffee-coloured classical music of the future. They planned to invent a faux tribe, a kind of fictional ethnography. The final album, made by Byrne and Eno, took a different path. They took radio broadcasts, evangelists, talk show hosts, Lebanese mountain singers, and laid them over polyrhythmic, Fela Kuti-inspired funk grooves. It was a collage of found sounds, a map of a new kind of world, and its influence was massive. The producers of Public Enemy said it was a direct inspiration for their own dense, chaotic sound collages. In a way, it fulfilled the promise of a film like Jean-Luc Godard's 1+1, which shows the Rolling Stones endlessly wrestling one song into existence. It revealed that a piece of music on a multi-track tape isn't one thing. It's a collection of possibilities, a library of ghosts waiting to be rearranged. This journey from the hard copy of analog tape to the soft, endlessly malleable world of digital recording changed everything. Suddenly, music wasn't a fixed object, it was data. All that is solid melts into ether. And what of us, the listeners, in this world of constructed sound? Brian Eno, ever the provocateur, tells a story. He was becoming frustrated with computers in the studio, with their cautious, perfectionistic way of working. So he did an experiment. He took a random field recording from Hyde Park, cars, dogs, people, and he decided to learn it, like a piece of music. He listened over and over until the arbitrary sequence of events became connected, meaningful. Oh yeah, that car. And then the dog barks. Brilliant. It demonstrates a crucial idea. Listening isn't passive. It's an active construction of meaning. It suggests that any sound can become music if we just decide to listen to it that way. It's about learning to find the content in the void. The studio as the primary instrument, the echoes of dub, the art of the remix, these ideas, so vividly captured by Toop in 1995, have only amplified. The move to the virtual digital studio was the next step. The laptop became the new black arc, the tools for sonic alchemy more accessible than ever. And you can hear that legacy today. You hear it in the ghostly, rain-slicked landscapes of artists like Burial, who builds his music from the crackle of vinyl and half-remembered samples of video games and R&B. You hear it in the fractured, beautiful noise of Finesse, who uses the digital glitch as a brushstroke, or in the work of Oneotrix Point Never, who creates a kind of sonic archaeology, collaging forgotten synthesizer sounds into new, eerie, and deeply emotional forms. The virtual became our new reality. The studio remains a place of infinite possibility, a space where dreams and sometimes ghosts are given a voice. What are your reflections on these constructed sound worlds? This chapter discusses posthumous duets and reconstructed recordings. How do you feel about an artist's work being altered after their death? Is it a creative tribute, or does it cross an ethical line? Lee Perry saw his studio as a magical, living collaborator. In today's world of laptop and AI production, how important do you think the physical space where music is made is to the final sound and feel of the work? Brian Eno's experiments suggest we can learn to hear any sound as music. Have you ever found yourself listening intently to everyday sounds in a new way? What for you is the line between sound and music? Share your thoughts, your experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It goes a long way to support the channel. From the inner space of the studio, our journey next takes us outwards to the vast landscapes that inspire sound and the sounds that become landscapes themselves. Join me as we delve deeper into the ocean of ambience.